let's start with the Fred Warner extension. I know you've been talking about it all offseason. How do you? It's not really a topic on anyone's minds, but you've been banging it. So tell me what's on your mind with this one.
Back on November 3rd, I put out a podcast and I said, Fred Warner's due a front-loaded deal. And then people were saying, well, no, he's still under contract. I was like, well, usually you extend the player the year before he hits that last year of his rookie deal, because then you're fighting for his services once he hits free agency. When you look at how Fred Warner was playing the majority of the last 2 years, he was outplaying Bobby Wagner, and Bobby Wagner was the gold standard at middle linebacker for the majority of the years prior. So when you see a guy like Fred Warner outplaying Bobby Wagner, and I grade in my grading system, I have a grading system, and I grade every single snap that each of those played, and Fred Warner just above and beyond better than Bobby Wagner, and it comes down to him having the edge in the curl hook defender zone coverage. And when you take that into account and then you formulate your grades and then you look at it for what it really is, snap by snap, and he's outplaying Bobby Wagner for the last 2 years, and Bobby Wagner is the highest paid middle linebacker, getting paid $18 million a year, and Fred Warner is getting paid less than $1 million a year. You're $17 million times 2, which is $34 million overdue. So he's due for a front-loaded deal. He's been basically overperforming his contract, and it's time for the Niners to pay up.
Okay, so do you think they will pay up, or will they be like, ooh, 20, how was it, 20 million? Is it going to be 18, 19, 20, 21?
I think it's going to be 18 to 20.
Okay, so like more than Armstead.
Oh, yeah.
More than everyone on the team except for the quarterback. Are they going to balk, or are they going to have a disagreement over like $2 million a year?
Dude, it could be the same situation as a DeForest Buckner deal. Yeah, and I said that right after, too. That podcast I put out, I said, don't be surprised. And people were like, oh, my gosh, this is clickbait. And then what's happening now?
Yeah.
How come Fred Warner hasn't been given a contract extension now? Like, what's taking so long? My thinking is they're trying to slow play this like a game of poker and be like, oh, we're the decreased salary cap, man. Like, we don't have money, but we want to pay you. No.
You're our priority. It's just that we're not doing it yet.
So how big of a priority are you? Because
Yeah.
When he talks, BS walks, we all know the saying. So it's like at some point, Fred Warner has to put his foot down and be like, hey, I don't want the Buckner treatment. Either you pay me or someone else will.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about trade scenarios in a little bit, but when Peter King floats Fred Warner in a potential 7-for-1 deal for Deshaun Watson, if I were Warner or his agent, I'd be like, who is Peter King talking to? Is this actually going to happen? Because Peter King just wouldn't just throw that out there. He's the kind of guy who uses background information to make informed opinions and guesses and stuff like that. So I don't think it's out of the question. If the Niners feel like they need to put together some home run package to get Deshaun Watson, maybe Warner goes in it, especially if they feel like the alternative is paying him $20 million a year. Because their logic with Buckner was, we love you, man, but we're not going to pay a defensive tackle $21 million a year unless his name is Aaron Donald. And they could say the same thing. We love you, Fred Warner, but we're not going to pay a middle linebacker $20 million a year unless he's what? Unless he's Patrick Willis, unless he's someone we haven't seen so far. Yeah. I think they could do it.
Yeah, no, and exactly, you hit it right on the nail. And I put that on my podcast in a potential Deshaun Watson deal. If he were to come to San Francisco, I said you have to give up a core player because draft picks are no guarantee.
Right.
If Nick Caserio is going to leverage this trade, he wants something in return to where the media and the fans can have a ray of hope with, because you want to get something in return for a top 5 franchise quarterback. Yeah. And Fred Warner or Nick Bosa would be that guy. Now, would I make that move? Absolutely not. But that's something that Nick Caserio and John Lynch would have to discuss behind closed doors.
And again, to me, what happened with Buckner was the Niners were willing to pay him more than Armstead, probably 18, maybe 19 million a year. But I think the Niners just fundamentally didn't want to give more than 20 million to a defensive player who wasn't an edge rusher. I think that's basically their attitude. Unless you're a quarterback or an edge rusher, we're not going to pay you more than 20 million a year. So what if Warner wants 20 million a year? What if the Niners say, we'll give you 18 and Warner says, no, I want the 2. I want the 2 in it, just like Buckner did, period. Yeah. I'm that good. Would they break up over that? I mean, they did with Buckner. I feel like it's worth at least monitoring.
I think it would. You want to know my honest opinion?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I think if I'm Fred Warner, there's a reason why Fred Warner's dad follows me and like my podcast on they better resign Fred Warner before it's too late. And you said great stuff, brother, with a thumbs up. Like you don't think they're talking? You don't think
Right.
I'm in the
And
know?
if the
What's going on?
if the Warner camp was confident a deal was going to be done soon, his dad wouldn't be on social media pumping up stuff like that. It's like they're trying to speak it into existence. Honestly, why isn't it done already? I'm sure if Warner and the Niners could agree on a number right now, they would have. So to me, this is the kind of thing that's either going to come down to the wire, like Kittle, like right before training camp starts, or they trade Warner in some shocking move right before the draft to get like another pick that they could package to move up for quarterback or something like that. You know, if he could be the magic piece to get the quarterback. He could be, because I don't think they want to trade Nick Bosa. I don't think they want to trade Nick Bosa. I don't think they want to trade George Kittle. Those guys are like the face of the franchise. And even though Fred Warner is the leader of the defense, he's not they haven't promoted him like that.
They should.
But they didn't promote Buckner like that either. I wonder.
Dude, it's so sad to see that. And you got to look at it from a locker room dynamic, right? We've been in that locker room. We've been in there. We know what players talk about.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll tell you this right now. I still keep in touch with a lot of players and coaches, right? So they're still shook, surprised, and shocked that DeForest Buckner was traded. I actually spoke to one coach 2 weeks ago, and he told me, he's like, man, I still can't believe that they traded away the best defensive players. Like, I don't care if we got draft capital in return.
Yep.
Don't trade your best defensive player. You don't do it. And he said the
never missed a game, was the leader. I mean, he was everything you wanted from your best player. Everything you wanted.
He's the engine that made everything go, because everything starts up front, and he took on the double teams.
Yes.
I don't know.
Real quick, I need to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm babyface today. I was going to shave the way I normally do with the razor thing, the wall thing, the WA, but it broke midway through, and I was faced with a dilemma. Do I go on with Ryan with half a shaved face, or do I just shave the rest of it? I haven't done this since I was a kid. I feel like I look like I'm 19 years old. I just needed to say that. Yes, this was not the plan. But you know what? I'm 33 now. I guess maybe I can pull it off.